Hey everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Lisa. Okay, I'm gonna start you off with a question, Mike.
Okay.
Have you ever been involved in trying to get something done with other people, but you weren't at the same place at the same time, and so then it led to a bit of a misunderstanding?
Yeah, and if you've ever ordered something on the internet, you'll know that you don't always get exactly what you were envisioning or what it looked like on the webpage. So I was ordering a gift for my dad. He likes Formula One, and so I wanted to get him a specific driver's car, a driver who he really likes. And so I saw the picture online. It says it was a certain scale, and it said that the package was gonna weigh 1 kilogram, so I had an idea of what this car was gonna look like. So a couple weeks later, I ordered it from overseas. A couple weeks later, it comes. I get this little box, and it weighs nothing. I'm like, this can't be the thing, this has to be something else. And I open it up, and sure enough, there's a little Formula One car in there in a little plastic case. And so I was like, okay, I guess this is my dad's birthday present. So I gave it to him. Thankfully, he liked it, but I paid way too much money for it, and it was not at all what I was expecting.
Yeah, so I guess there was a bit of a misunderstanding there. Yeah, but thankfully with God, there was never a misunderstanding. In fact, God can partner with us anywhere. So let's check out today's story to find out how that fits into Joseph's life.
How do we know Peter was a rich fisherman? By his net income. Hello, I'm Alex. Since I was a kid, I've had food allergies, like in major ways. It was really tough to grow up with these restrictions, and truthfully, I just wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to be able to eat pizza and ice cream, but I couldn't. And so through high school, I remember holding my Medic Alert bracelet in my hand that said all my allergies on it, and I would pray to Jesus, take away my allergies. And he never did. And so over the years, I've learned to appreciate the food that I can eat. And I find some of the greatest joys are actually in making food for other people that have food restrictions. And that brings me to today's big idea. God can partner with us anywhere. In this series, we've been digging into the story of Joseph. Let's look at what happens next. So Joseph was in prison, sure, but while he was a prisoner, the guards liked him so much that they put him in charge of the other prisoners and gave him a bunch of other responsibilities. While he was a prisoner, there were a couple other people that joined him in prison, and they just happened to be the king's wine taster and the king's baker. And Joseph was put in charge of them too. Even when Joseph was in prison, God was partnering with him in such cool ways. They were in prison for a while, and then, well, let's just read it. In Genesis chapter 40. While they were in prison, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker each had a dream one night, and each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph saw them the next morning, he noticed that they both looked upset. "Why do you look so worried today?" he asked them. And they replied, "We both had dreams last night, but no one can tell us what they mean." So the men told Joseph about their dreams, and then Joseph listened to what God told him about their dreams. Joseph partnered with God in this. Joseph told them both what their dreams meant. The wine taster would get his job back in 3 days, but the baker would be put to death in 3 days. Joseph asked the wine taster to remember him when he gets out of prison. 3 days later, Pharaoh has a birthday party and gets his wine taster and the baker out of prison. It all happened just as Joseph said it would. The Pharaoh gave the wine taster his job back. But the baker, he got executed. God had partnered with Joseph to interpret the dreams of the wine taster and the baker while he was still in prison. The wine taster forgot all about Joseph after he got out. 2 years later, while Joseph was in prison the whole time, Pharaoh had a dream. He saw 7 healthy, fat cows come up out of the river, and then he saw 7 ugly, skinny cows. And the 7 ugly, skinny cows actually ate the 7 fat, healthy cows. Later, Pharaoh had another dream when he saw 7 healthy grains of wheat coming up out of one stem. And then he saw these 7 thin, dried up heads of grain, and they actually came and swallowed up the healthy ones. Pharaoh woke up because, man, that's another weird dream. And so in the morning he was worried, and he sent for his wisest men to help him interpret what could these dreams possibly mean, but nobody could help him. And then the wine taster, finally remembers Joseph. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he said to Joseph, "I need you to tell me what my dreams mean." And Joseph says, I can't interpret dreams, but I know that God will. You see, Joseph knew that God would partner with him in this. Pharaoh told Joseph about both of his dreams, and Joseph told Pharaoh that both dreams had the same meaning. The 7 fat, healthy cows and the 7 healthy heads of grain both represented 7 years in which there would be lots of food in the land, but they would be followed by 7 years of famine in which there was not enough food to feed everybody. That's what the 7 skinny cows and the 7 unhealthy heads of grain meant. Then Joseph told Pharaoh that he should find someone wise to take care of all the food in Egypt, to store up extra food during the good years, to take care of them in the years of famine. Pharaoh thought that was a pretty good plan, and he said this, "Can we find anyone else like this man, so obviously filled with the Spirit of God?" Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has revealed the meaning of the dreams to you, clearly no one else is as intelligent or wise as you are. You will be in charge of my court, and all my people will take orders from you. Only I, sitting on my throne, will have a rank higher than yours." Joseph had stored up the food just as he said, and everything happened just as he said God said it would. He stored up food for that 7 years, and then they had enough food to feed all the people during the 7 years of famine. Even though Joseph was in prison, God chose to partner with him there. Today's big idea is God can partner with us anywhere. So maybe you find yourself in a place that you don't exactly want to be, like Joseph. Know this, that even though it isn't the most excellent place to be, God can partner with you anywhere. Hey, thanks for being with me. Be good. See ya.
Poor Joseph, he really got the raw end of the deal by getting thrown into prison, right?
Yeah.
But it's amazing to see how God still partnered with him even in there.
Yeah, because nothing's impossible for God. So the same way God partnered with Joseph, I want to check in now with Hannah and Miah to show how God partnered with them at their school when things really weren't going well.
Hi, I'm Jacob, and I'm here to meet Hannah and Miah, 2 students who saw a need in their school and decided to start a space where their peers could share their faith and talk about their feelings without being judged. Let's go find out more about that.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Hi, I'm Jacob.
Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Miah.
Nice to meet you. So tell me about this program you guys started at your school. What motivated you to do that?
Alpha is a video-based course with a discussion, and it's open to all cultures, religions, non-religion, and yeah, and I felt really encouraged to do it at our school.
I was a little more hesitant to start it, but we definitely saw this need at our school. There was a lot of conflict, a lot of hate, and just violence, and so we wanted to break that tension and just create a space where people could feel like they were accepted and loved for the things that we were discussing, like our faith and our beliefs and all that stuff.
How did you guys get that started, though?
So I got my teacher involved with it, and she gave us the room, and then I got a bunch of my friends to be the leaders, and they were totally on board. And then we also got support from pastors in the GTA.
Yeah, just raising money for our Alpha, helping us out with pizza so that people could come and eat and talk and all that stuff. It was cool.
So tell me, what did the average meeting look like for you?
An average meeting was the door was open to anyone to come in, they would sit down or they'd grab their pizza, the video would play, and then we would discuss the questions that were being asked throughout the video.
Did you see an impact from all of this?
Yeah, for sure. We were getting to know people in the halls. We would invite people to come, and there was this one girl in particular who throughout the week she would eat her lunch by herself, but every Tuesday she would come with a smile on her face because she knew that when she came, she was able to eat her lunch with people who loved and accepted her and wanted to start a friendship with her.
Yeah, and I even had a good friend that came to know Christ, and it was just such an amazing and cool experience.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Did you feel that God partnered with you through this?
Definitely. The janitor would come and clean up the 8 pizza boxes that were put in the recycling bin every Tuesday after lunch. And he would talk to our teacher and just be like, where are these coming from? And she explained about the course and what we were doing. And he was just like, that's really, really cool. And then he ended up asking for a Bible. So just being able to see how God worked through that and the ripple effect that Alpha had on so many people was just really, really incredible to see.
Yeah.
What would you say to other students out there who see a similar need in their school?
To not be afraid to step out into their school and make a difference. You can do it with anything. Just smiling at someone in the hall and just showing God's love to that person really makes a difference.
Yeah, just be courageous, because like God's got a plan for you. Like he's not gonna let you hanging or anything. Like he knows what he's doing with you, and yeah,
he'll work through you. So I would encourage anybody to just, see the need and do it. Take action.
Yeah.
So what do you guys feel like you accomplished with this group?
We really gave kids a voice and someone to talk to. So we loved them and cared for them. So they really had that sense of just love and care.
Yeah, and even for the kids who didn't want to necessarily start a relationship with God, we let them know that we want to have a relationship with them. And so we hope and pray that throughout their life, they'll realize that and it'll help them come to Christ.
Thank you guys so much for coming out and talking.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Wish you all the best.
You too.
Wow, Hannah and Miah are so inspiring in the way they reached out in their school.
Yeah, plus great call and getting the pizza. I'm sure that brought out way more people. But I really do love how they invited the whole school and created a great platform for discussion.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see the way God partnered with them, and it really changed the attitudes in their school.
Yeah.
So let's get into our small groups now and see how this plays out in our own story.